All right, guys, Carl here back again with the same concept as last time. I was really surprised how many people enjoyed it. I did sort of as like a, just for fun thing as a goof, testing out the sort of recording setup with a computer because I didn't really know how it was going to work with the microphone and all that stuff. But it ended up being a very successful video. Like a lot of people really enjoyed the way I ranked the Cuban cigar brands and just sharing opinions. Always really fun with cigars. So I thought why not go with non-Cuban brands this time? I mean, there's so many out there. You got to represent. I mean, the U.S. is by far the biggest cigar consuming nation in the world. Obviously, they legally can't get Cuban cigars, so there's so much other stuff out there as well. I mean, for me, I really, really enjoy smoking non-Cuban cigars as well. So might as well do these as well. But I need to preface this by saying this is going to be out of like a consumer perspective from me personally. Because first of all, I live in Sweden, so like our selection of non-Cuban cigars are a lot smaller than the ones in the U.S. So that might be why you might not see like one brand or two or three that you would think should be on this list, just because they don't really have any availability here in Sweden. So I haven't smoked them, so obviously I can't really. I mean, I'm not gonna sort of just guess how good a brand is based on like my perception of it as a cigar smoker here in Sweden. But so like Ashton, for example, I know is very popular in the US. They don't really exist here very much at all. I think they have like one cigar here or something. So I know, big shame. But these are the ones I've included. So it's Padron, Perdomo, Drew Estate, Camacho, CAO, Davidoff, Macanudo, Arturo Fuente, my father, Rocky Patel, Oliva, AJ Fernandez, Avo, Havana Nicaragua, and Nub. So yeah, these are. I know AJ Fernandez is sort of an entity by itself, but he also makes cigars for others. And I know Nub is created by Oliva, but these are the brands that I've smoked. Are huge brands and also just kind of represent the biggest market section of the non-Cuban cigar market. So to not get too far into it, again, I'm going to rank this how well the brand is run, I think. The public sort of perception of the brand, and also just how much I enjoyed the cigars will also obviously factor in. So starting out, wow, okay, so starting out with quite a bang, it's Padron. I'm not even going to wait a second here because that is an S, and it is an S by far. Padron is one of the best brands of cigars in the world, I would say. I really love their approach. It's heritage. It's just quality over quantity. It's quality over anything else. It's unrelenting, just pure quality tobacco. I'd say Padron is by far the best Nicaraguan cigar brand in the world. Yeah, it's just pure quality. Their 1964 series, legendary. Their 1926 series, legendary. Their Family Reserve. All these cigars are so good. I've had their 1926 series and was blown away. But even their like more budget 1000 series, like the Padron 2000, 3000, all these cigars are also just fantastic, and they're always so well rolled. They're always such perfect quality, incredible, just full-bodied Nicaraguan cigars, and yeah, their approach to how they do stuff is I really love it. Perdomo. Okay, so this one I'm gonna put straight in B. I've had a few of Perdomo's different cigars. They have a lot of nice different lines. I know they're like 10th anniversary champagne or whatever. That's like one of the best beginner cigars. That's one I recommend often to like a beginner because it's a lot of flavor, but it's decently light. They have the Perdomo Fresco line, one of the few like bundle-ish cigars here in Sweden that we can get, and it's very good quality for what it is, long filler, all that stuff. Their Lot 23 series, I think, nice Maduro cigars. They're expanding a little bit. But they're not anything crazy. I think they're very decent brand that does things well, but nothing to write home about. Drew Estate. Oh yeah, wow. So this is going to be probably the most controversial one out of them all. This is tough to say because they have their whole acid line, which is a huge, huge line of cigars. Actually, it's I think it's said that it's one of the world's best-selling cigars. They're acid, and those are flavored cigars. For those of you that don't know, so they're artificially flavored with a lot of stuff, and they taste very sweet and candy-like. I've never had one, not too interested. But on the same side, Drew Estate makes the Liga Privada series, which is, by all aficionados everywhere, it's revered, it's loved, it's very, very, very good. So I'm going to have to put Drew Estate at an A just because of the way they've run their brand. I mean, they've really it's very impressive to go from sort of infused cigars and then to expand the way they have. They've had such good master blenders like Steve Saka, I think, worked for Drew Estate, and now they have Willie Herrera who makes the Herrera Esteli series, the Norteño series. Those of you guys that know are also just spot on cigars. So although they have the volume stuff, the flavored stuff, they make so many lines, and some of them are just so good, like the Liga Privada series, and that yeah, I have to give them credit for where credit is due, and they do make some fantastic cigars. Willie Herrera is a great master blender as well, so they're good. Camacho. Now, if I'm ranking Camacho based on their U.S. price and all that stuff, I think I'm gonna put Camacho as a solid A. Here in Sweden, they're a bit overpriced, but I think Camacho is very, very good quality. Now, they are owned by Davidoff, so that's part of it. They're very, very good quality. They're a bit more on the affordable side, but I've had their Ecuador, I've had their Corojo, really, really good. Just nice flavor, very clean, very like yeah, just good quality cigars. Um, they just always seem to deliver as well. I've had their American Barrel Aged, which was a very unique, cool cigar. So they are sort of expanding. They're doing innovative stuff, which I really love. I always love seeing new stuff, even though some traditionalists might think it's sacrilege to barrel aged tobacco. I think it's very cool. I think they're doing well, and I'd say Camacho is a solid A. They make good cigars. CAO. I might pan it a little bit. I'm just not a huge fan. They make a lot of like darker stuff. They do a lot of like Brazilian tobacco. I've had their Brasilia Gold. I know they're like Anaconda or Amazon Basin or whatever it's called with the. You can Google it. It's like I think it's called Amazon or something. It doesn't have a band. It has like it's wrapped with tobacco leaf around. I feel like they do a little bit of gimmicky stuff. I've never had a CEO that really like blew my mind. I just don't really love their marketing side either. I know that's not big deal, but like I don't know. I just I've never been a big fan of CEO. I've never had one that I remember too well. Just a yeah, just a subpar brand that I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are going to be upset with that and say they're great, but to each their own, right? Now we've got Davidoff. I'm gonna have to put Davidoff at an A. I'm gonna put it at the top of the A list. Let's see if I can move around. I know a lot of people probably would put Davidoff as an S. It would be easy to do so, but I just feel like they try to do the sort of quality over everything. I know it's a very, very impressive business they run there. I've seen the tour of their there's a little documentary on YouTube you can Google. The amount of tobacco they have, the vaults of stuff they do is incredible. I just feel like Davidoff, they have a little bit of like a pumping out cigars attitude, which I don't like. If you just Google limited edition, they make like hundreds of limited edition cigars. Literally, they make so many, and it's impossible to keep track of. So I just feel like okay, Davidoff make perfect quality cigars, probably the best quality cigars in the world, I would say, in terms of like their quality control, the rolling, just how well they're made. It's incredible. And they have really aged tobacco. It's pure quality, sure. But I feel like they just pump out too many cigars. They have so many crazy, weird limited editions all the time. I just feel like, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't sit perfectly well with me, but I can't put them under an A for sure. Okay, so Macanudo. This is a brand that has a long history because it was the biggest brand in the world pretty much in the 90s. If you Google it, it's very interesting. Like they used to make these really light Jamaican cigars that people loved back in the 90s, the cigar boom and all that stuff. These were really like one of the most smoked brands in the world. They had such a fall from grace. I guess they just got, content and they just didn't really do anything. So now, I mean, they're not very big at all. I mean, especially compared to what they were, right? So I'm gonna put that Macanudo at D, and that's not to say they make awful cigars. I just feel like with that fall from grace, going from one of the biggest in the world to not really innovating, not doing anything. I know they've made their Macanudo Inspirado line recently, which I've had, but they're just not memorable. They're just fine. They're just fine cigars that I'd smoke casually if I'm playing poker or something, and I don't want to focus too much on the cigar. But they're just nothing huge. And if you go from one of the biggest in the world and you fall down to just sort of meh, that's a D. That's a D. All right, Arturo Fuente. Watch and learn every cigar brand in the world. I'm putting that as an S. One of the best cigar brands in the world, I'd say. They have so many lines, but they differ so much, and they don't pump out a lot of crap. From there, just regular Arturo Fuente stuff. Their short stories are legendary, Hemingway series, all that stuff. They've got the Don Carlos line with that amazing Cameroon wrapper. So they're really like innovating. They're searching for the best tobacco in the world, and it doesn't matter if they have to go to Cameroon to get those wrappers. To their Opus X, right? Everyone knows Opus X, some of the best cigars in the world. And the way they did that brand, if you read about it, it's very, very cool. That everyone said, it's impossible to make a Dominican puro. You can't grow wrapper leaf in the Dominican Republic. No way, no way, no way. They just didn't care. They put all the effort they could into it and made an amazing cigar. And now Opus X is one of the best cigars in the world. That entire line, incredible. They have like charity foundations, which is very, very cool. That's just why I'm pumping it over Padron a little bit. I just love the way that brand is run. It's absolutely incredible, and they have so many insanely good cigars across the board. There is nothing they can't do. Arturo Fuente is top of the top of the top, in my opinion. My father's cigars, very, very good brand that I like. I'm going to put that right above Drew Estate. They have some cheaper stuff like Flor de las Antillas, one of my absolute favorite cigars, factoring in like price, quality, taste, all that stuff. Flor de las Antillas is incredible. They've won Cigar of the Year before with the Le Bijou 1922 series. They've just got so many nice cigars. They're a very, very good brand. I love the history of that brand. They do stuff well, and yeah, they just cover the range. I don't feel like they put out any crap at all, which for me that counts a lot. So yeah. Speaking of putting out crap, okay, I'm not gonna start being too negative, but Rocky Patel is a C. The reason I'm putting it so low is mainly because how much stuff they do, and for me it's sort of it covers that, throwing shit on, like if you throw shit on the wall, something will stick, right? Like they just make so many cigars. I know they're like age limited and rare series, has gotten a lot of great press, a lot of great attention. But like if you make this many cigars, if you have this big brand and you can make so many different blends, you have so much tobacco to go with, of course you're going to make some good stuff eventually, right? So I feel like most of the Rocky Patel cigars are very meh. They're just very, very casual smokes. They're priced that way. Sure, I know they don't overcharge or anything, which I do respect. But yeah, I just feel like they're very, very, very bland. I feel like they're almost watered out. You know what I mean? Like there's good flavor, but if I get the Cameroon 2003 cigar, I'd rather go for another Cameroon cigar that's a little bit better. There's always a better option than Rocky Patel. But I do buy their Edge series when I'm out fishing and I don't want to focus too much because they're just nice quality, but I'm not going to put it higher than a C. Okay, Oliva. I'm going to have to put Oliva as an A as well. I'll put it here. I'm giving a lot of love to these non-Cubans, but I think they're just very, very good quality. I've had the Melanio. I've absolutely loved it. The normal Series V is a little darker in my opinion. Not as great, but I've had that too. I've had their Connecticut, I think. I've had a lot of different Olivas. I almost can't remember now. But the Melanio series is so good. Oliva Serie V Melanio, if you haven't had it, try that cigar. In any Vitola, they're all really, really fantastic. Another cigar boom brand that survived just with pure quality. Really, really fantastic brand. And I can't do anything but give them the respect they deserve. AJ Fernandez. Now, AJ Fernandez himself is a very, very good cigar maker. He's a master blender. I just can't. Okay, I'm gonna put it as a top. I'm gonna put it at the top of the B, because he makes a lot of cigars. I've had some of them, like the New World. They're good. They're priced decently, but they're not mind blowing. I don't know. I feel like AJ Fernandez has so many cigars. And I'm never really blown away. That's really why I'm putting it here. That might be a controversial pick, I'm sure, but I'm just never extremely blown away. I've had tons of AJ Fernandez cigars, but I think it says something about it when I really almost can't really remember them too well. Like I've had a lot of them, but none of them stand out really that much. But I always enjoy AJ Fernandez, which is why I'm putting it here. So yeah, I'd say I would solidly put it there. Avo. I'd put Avo above Perdomo. They haven't done a lot of innovation. They were also, I think, is like a cigar boom brand. They make good quality, also owned by Davidoff. Very, very high quality, but they're quite pricey for what they are. They're very elegant, very, very classy, nice cigars. But Avo isn't mind blowing either. They're very good for what they are. But sometimes I'd like when I had the Avo EXO decently recently, I felt like I could have put that money somewhere else almost. Even though I really enjoyed it, it's not like I would never buy a box of them. That's why I'd put them at the B. But they're good quality. Havana Nicaragua. I think I'm just giving a lot of love, but I'll stick that there. They have a lot of nice cigars. I've had the Antaño, which I really loved in Lancero. I had the Clásico recently, very, very, very light, not mind-blowing. But Havana Nicaragua make a lot of good cigars. I might bump it down to a B, to be honest. Yeah, I'll put it there. Because I'm thinking back, like they have good cigars, but they have so many as well, and none of them are really that crazy good. They're good for what they are, but they're decent. Havana Nicaragua. Nub. Now this is a smaller brand. Maybe not everyone has had them, but they've become very, very popular recently. And I'm gonna put them right there, I guess, or maybe at the top of the C. I don't mind Nub, but for those of you guys that know my preferences, Nubs, if you don't know, they're like very short, but they're very, very thick. And what they intended, they're like 60 ring gauge. What they intended when they blended them was to give you that full blast of flavor from the beginning. Because if you smoke cigars, you know sometimes the first like half of the first third can be quite mild. The flavor doesn't really kick in until a few puffs. Nub wanted to give you that full blast of flavor that you get in the second half of a cigar, but right off the bat. So they're very short, they're very thick. I've had Nubs and they've been decent. They're always nice construction. They always look really pretty and like small. They use good quality tobacco, but they're just not crazy. And I don't like the way they've like pivoted the brand. Now they make some... flavored stuff, like coffee flavored. They have like espresso, cappuccino, macchiato line. It's a little bit weird. And they've started making much longer cigars. So I feel like they're moving away from what they set out to be, right? So it's not really making too much sense for me, but I'm not going to give them too much hate. I just thought of one that I should have added, which is Gurkha, which I would put in its own F tier. So imagine Gurkha is down here. Now, if you smoke Gurkha, to each their own. But if you just Google a little bit about the brand, you'll realize the way they run their brand is that they make Rocky Patel level cigars. Just not great, not good at all. They put their market price as very expensive to make them seem like they're a very exclusive brand, and then they do like 90% off sales all the time. Now, if a brand does a 90% off sale, just use common sense and think, how are they still profiting? Well, because the cigars are pretty shit to begin with. So they have the ability to put 90% off, make it look like you're getting a crazy deal, make people buy a lot, and you're effectively buying them at their actual worth when you're buying them at like 60% off, 70% off, or whatever. They do these crazy sales in any case. They've also just made the most expensive cigar in the world arbitrarily because they knew they'd get good press. Like if you Google most expensive cigar in the world, it'll be a Gurkha. Just stupid. There's no cigar that's worth that much. I think there's like $1 million cigar that they made. Cringy. It's marketing tactics that probably do work. A lot of people that have never smoked cigars pick up Gurkhas because they think they're getting some of the best stuff in the world. It's not. Just look away from Gurkha. It's not a brand that I really respect too much. I feel like they're a marketing team that happened to make cigars because they're great at marketing. They do not care about what cigars they make and the quality. So that is my tier list. Tell me what you guys think, how much you hate me for sticking some of these brands pretty low. I'm sure there'll be Rocky Patel fans that are pissed. I'm sure there will be Davidoff fans that think Davidoff should be top of the S, but this is how I see it. These two are the top dogs. Arturo Fuente dominates the Dominican. They are so good. And then Padron, the same with Nicaragua. They are beautiful cigar-making families. But this is my list. This is my order. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And hope you guys enjoyed this one as well, as much as the Cuban version. And I will see you guys, as always, in the next video. Cheers, guys.